Yeah, sure. Well,
Oh, by the way, it's thunderstorming again.
oh, fun.
Why is Yeti all the way down? Hold on. Okay, we need to do some quick audio things because my mic just went all the way down for some reason. On that.
Gotta love when that happens.
Yeah, okay, I think I hit the bottom of the volume thing instead of mute for that. So, do I sound like I'm peaking on my audio at all? Let me know on that. And does audio sound good with my co-coms and such? But yeah, we're back streaming at this point. I have it basically set up now that when we're doing visual novel stuff, it will still play the alerts and stuff like that. You just won't get sound for that kind of deal.
Sense.
So yeah. Let's see. As far because I know some of you are gonna ask Smash CPU tournament, I'm working on a date for that. It's when I have like 8 people and we can only do this on weekends, and I have to find one day that works for everybody kind of deal. Little hard on that kind of deal. So we're trying to get one. Maybe if it happens this weekend, it would be Saturday, but I'm not putting a hard agree on that date yet kind of deal until I get the okay from everybody. So yeah. Anyway, I think we are all good to go. There wasn't really anything in current stream chat for this last week, so we're just gonna hop right back on in. Okay. So, I think with the 3 that we have here, I think I want to do Haru's scenario next at this point. I'm just interested in what happened with her kid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking so far, my interest levels out of the gate based on what we saw in, the scenario up here are probably like Haru, Yako, and Tetsuo. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Tetsuo interest-wise doesn't really start off big, but I will say he gets pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, head right on in. When the son of Haru, Shigima, was kidnapped, a botched investigation by police resulted in the child's murder. 1 year later, Haru has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsolved case. Late at night, while speaking to the detective at her home, something strange suddenly appears.
And just gonna say this now, it is Haru A.
Haru A? Okay.
Yeah.
Rock fires, perish in flames. Kill them. Kill them. The flame bearers. Kill them all.
Acquired the curse to haunted clapper. You can use it to kill those with fire or fire-starting devices in their person. Neat! Murder symbol seeps into the back of a victim. Oh yeah, it would be you. Yeah, sorry.
A murderous impulse seeps to my soul like a bit thick black tar.
And screaming arson.
Hear it,
Kill!
Can you hear it, Cursbearer? You strongly desires to rise. Kill them. Kill every last one of them!
What I do just kind of find funny, by the way, just saying this now, is based on how we all voiced it during the prologue bit, is that Pat's voicing none of the 3 current protagonists.
Yeah!
Back with me, ma'am. Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood.
Oh, seeing a man on fire puts you in a good mood, I see. Yes.
This might be the first time I've seen you really smile. Sweet dreams?
With that face? Not sure on that.
No.
She looks like she has not gotten sleep in like a week.
Look, with what her situation is, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Not dreams.
Sounds like something I might want to hear about. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out. And the whole time, you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about?
Well, where to start?
Interesting. Very interesting. So, the Hunting Clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. Told you how to perform the rite of resurrection, and give you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right?
That's right.
So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. It looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that there's some supernatural force at work. So that's a fun thing, is he actually just saw it happen, so he has no reason not to believe her.
Yeah.
An arrangement of flowers. We're bringing someone to do it. I don't even know what the flowers are called.
Why did I order these?
A stereo unit with separate speakers designed for home use. My husband insists on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often.
Didn't want to pay for a iPhone speaker at all.
Pretty sure this is said before that.
I don't know how much I'll be talking about these things, since some of them are just like, I am talking this.
Yeah, okay.
Remember when we had fax machines?
Yeah, does anybody chat know, like, the time period that this game takes place in, kind of deal?
I'm actually gonna double check that, because I'm pretty
feel
sure it's at
like
least vaguely said.
I think, if I had to take a guess, probably 80s, right? 80s, maybe early 90s, potentially?
Set in the 1980s.
1980s, yeah.
Also, since your person of interest is updated, you should have the character profiles now.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a good few.
Yep. Yoko Fukunaga.
I died.
Alright, that's a fun thing. As we get to learn who has what, we'll even get what curse echo they have, so you just have it on file.
Harue is a housewife who resides at a manor near Chokomio Ridge. Her 11-year-old son, Shuichi, was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was a result of a mistake on the part of the detective assigned to the case, a mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police, leaving no room for negotiation. The incident was covered up, and Shuichi's killer remains at large, leading the aggravated Harue to call on services of prime investigator Richter Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigema family came from a long line of samurai who built their resistance on the Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution. Meiji, sorry. Thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many of the Shikima line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Harue's father sits on the upper echelons of the National Police Agency, and her husband, adopted into the Shikimiya clan through a arranged marriage, is also a highly respected agency official. However, her family prioritizes work above all else. It wasn't long until Harue's message grew cold, though she wants for nothing. She is isolated from her neighbors and is withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Harue a purpose in life, but was cut short following the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Harue spent many days in deep depression, breaking into sudden fits of shouting and wandering in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took into making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Harue's husband was transferred to another work area, now rarely returns home, with Haruhi left to live in a large, empty mansion by her alone. As a housekeeper who has been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of the housework, Haruhi has nothing but time on her hands.
Her life kinda sucks right now.
And energetic command that she'll go okay right now.
Okay, that hasn't updated yet.
Yeah.
I think right just means unread, so.
Yeah. So. Okay. Yep.
A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They say he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Oda City, I saw how he dressed. I can hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like a reliable sort. Alright, there it goes.
Yeah, and you can always just click open updates if you want to see the actual updated files.
Richter is actually a private after talking to a request from Haruhi to investigate the insult cult kidnapping and murder of her son. She's caught up in the events that were surrounding the riot of resurrection. Once a police officer, Richter was racked with guilt over the police's inability to help all those in need and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. However, his soft-hearted nature led him to take on too many cases and put the office in dire financial straits. How he still is in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Richter studied alongside Detective Jun Iro at the police academy. Ario at police academy. Somewhat surprisingly, given out his outlandish clothing and mannerisms, Richter excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets. He proudly refers to himself as an investigator extraordinaire, though that only ever succeeds in impressing himself. Richter's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his pet female, Abelino parakeet, Iristine, which he keeps in the office. He enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds inexplicably dressed as delinquents, and can be frequently sighted searching around town for them. While out and about, Richter typically leaves the office, and more importantly, Aristine in care of Amamori, a junior high schooler who volunteered to assist Richter after being involved in the previous case.
Fellas, I have some bad news.
I had to do it to him.
My heart's still racing. This is it. My chance at long last.
Talk to you again? No, that's full dialogue.
Yeah, it's the face you gotta click on.
I don't think you quite understand.
Oh?
This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day.
You just knew, huh?
It was etched into my soul, along with the curse echoes resentful memories.
Dutchman, we kind of resolved that issue on the idea of that the alerts will still be on screen, you just won't hear them kind of deal for visual novel games. So if you want to get subs, feel free on that.
So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did, hundreds of years ago. Wreaths in flames, wrinkling in pain as my flesh blackened and my blood boiled. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do. Just as long as there's carrying fire.
I see. That could be a problem.
You think so? From what I know of you, I'm sure you see it as an opportunity.
The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take stock for a moment, remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going.
That might be a good idea.
Thank you, Dutchman. Think. No, that's safe.
That's what you hired me for, ma'am, to look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima.
Oh yes, I remember. I never did find the one who did it.
That's what I'm here about today, in fact. Kind of you to let me drop isolate, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone, and I've come up with a grand total of... 1 lead.
So you say.
As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway.
I remember, you were just about to tell me.
Reg. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Shuichi Shigma, the only son of Haru Shiga. He was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body discovered in the Ritter. Was a contentious, brave boy who was determined to protect his mother, Haru. Amid his father's frequent absences, he dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and impressiveness and sensibility and responsibility at a young age. Likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment, born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, playing piano, learning abacus, taking English lessons, and training kendo. Luigi's tendency to put other needs above his own, and he died without telling his classmates how much he longed for them to all go out and hunt for mockingbird circus.
So yeah, early 70s and 11s, so this would be like early to mid 80s.
Yeah.
You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what, why don't I tell you what I found, and then we make a decision.
Alright.
I think you need to go through the other points first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself.
No, I'm very familiar.
Then I'll leave that for the files to cover, and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River, here in Sumida City. That's quite a wide area.
That's right.
In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. But it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute. Factoring in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house, it's likely he was abducted by car on his route home.
Maybe, but...
Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car with a stranger.
That's right. I am very firm about that. I know he understood too. I even saw him warn the other children.
It's possible they forced him into the car. The only issue there is, there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So, did they target him some other time, or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off?
The police never managed to find the answer. In the end, they decided the kidnapper must have just gotten lucky.
Well, why not turn the problem on its head? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into the car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is if there were somebody that he would have had a reason to trust. A teacher, perhaps, or a relative, or someone else that he knew.
But all of the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly.
They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew, or rather, what if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shigema family has close ties with the police after all. He would have had a reason to trust them.
You might be right. But surely, that couldn't have.
Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point after all. They're meant to be a visible deterrent against crime. But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, no one pictures women or children. Even kids who've been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong.
That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean...
Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car?
He might have. My husband always told him a man has a duty to watch over for women and children.
You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here.
And you think the culprit was a young woman? But it was a man's voice on the phone.
She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See what I said about people's biases? That goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe, if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had.
Like this sound effect that keeps going.
Oh yeah, they have fun with those.
Do you mean he saw it happened?
Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted to do something for me.
A lot of words.
So he asked if we could talk in private. Random yawning, it's a curse I constantly have.
Several hours earlier.
Alright, this should do. There's no one around. We can speak in confidence. Excuse me, what was your name again?
Janucci.
Janouchi is the closest thing I can think of there.
Jinachi.
Got it. Well, Janouchi, I'm all ears.
Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shigima's kidnapping. Do I have that right?
Of course. What else do I look like? Why is my dog barking?
How should
I
I
thought it
know?
was secluded.
How should I know what a private detective looks like? Oh, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight.
Oh my god.
My life is in danger. I need your help.
You'll excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who is trying to kill you?
Student called Michijo Shirisashi?
Shiraishi.
Shiraishi.
Interesting. A schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty.
It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michijo Shiranai, I saw her kidnap Shuichi Shigemiya.
Come again?
I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it, or at least she got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me.
If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody?
Well, you see,
If you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you.
I couldn't! She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word!
You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life? So you've been sitting on all that, you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans?
Yes, that's it, exactly! I'm begging you, don't let her get me! Arrest her, I'm telling you, she's a demon!
Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified?
I don't know what she can do. She'll curse me!
Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here.
It's fucking face.
Curses, you say.
It's true, her house, forget it, why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have you know, you'll never understand. Enough. I'll find someone else who can help me.
Hey! Okay, sounds like Zelda's calmed down. Don't know what that was about. Maybe she saw a bird.
Mm-hmm. Or Amazon
And that's the
truck.
long and short of it.
I can hardly believe it.
At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk. But I'm starting to see there might have been more to it.
Then, if we just find that girl.
Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name is Kohei Jonouchi. He's a teacher at Komagata High School here in Sumida.
A teacher. Then this schoolgirl.
Is one of his students? I think that's very likely. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in a cult magazine the other day. Apparently some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say that the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo.
I remember the first time you told me about that. I felt like my prayers have been heard. Like I had hope. Real hope for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered. What if I haven't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think if I've done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive.
You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're after the right? Guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this right is the real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul.
Is that a problem?
If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you.
Oh, that's a shame.
A shame, huh? That's all.
I thought if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful.
You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that?
I think any parents in my position would happily kill for a chance like this.
That's so, is it? Dear, oh dear. What have I gotten myself into? There's still more.
Okay. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill other curse bearers. I only need you to find them.
I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even for a client.
I feel like I said that's a shame multiple times, kind of deal. So,
How much can I give you to change your mind?
Sorry, ma'am, but not everyone has a price. I've got my policies, and I stick to them.
I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn.
Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out.
I have in mind.
Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul drags? If that was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, then that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later.
Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove?
That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now.
My,
look, I can't need you. You can't go killing again. I'm sorry. No. You can't. You can't.
At last... Oh, okay.
oh, there we go.
There we go.
Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The Haunting Clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 Mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly.
That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here. I'm sure I remember hearing that.
In that case, my money would be on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere.
That sounds sensible.
I gotta say, I do like how they established that the curse stones do, in fact, basically imprint the idea in your head.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, your hunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on the person. Is that right?
That's right.
In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. Good curse to have.
Whoa.
That was a bad roboting.
I roboted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table.
You really think it's that good?
The target can't do much to throw it off, and has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters, too. Just slip one into your target's pocket. And say that condition were already fulfilled before they even know you're there. They wouldn't even know what hit them.
Maybe. I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'll have to do what I said.
Threats could work, although without any proof, it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use a curse, then back out at the last second.
At the last second? What an interesting idea.
What if I just count down right in front of them?
I have a lighter right here. We can try it now.
That's an interesting proposition.
Just hold it!
But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig.
See, can we just take a stuffed teddy bear and put a lighter in its pocket? And then test that way?
Oh, I see.
You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying. And I don't think it's just a curse.
It's also the eyes, man. Like, you got some big murder eyes going on right now.
You flatterer. Actually, real quick, check the table. Oh, dang it.
Damn, no time.
As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine.
I can finally do this.
Alright then, have you decided what you want me working on?
Alright, investigate the kidnapping.
Finally, I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son.
Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts on looking into the kidnapping.
Although, something just occurred to me. I can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sunrise, could you search for other curse bearers?
Alright, I see how it is. Well, I'd be happy to help. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the covers of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up and I start asking questions, I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try to find Miss Shiraishi as part of the bargain.
Thank you. That's more than enough.
Think? Nope.
Maybe there's something we haven't checked yet.
Boop, 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 boop. The chandelier? Oh, there it is! Click that!
Oh, yep. Well, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is?
Goodness, you made me jump! It's just some silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or other. He put it up there just before. Well, you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down.
Let me take a closer look. I knew it! It's had Honjo from way back in set 1. That's a real collector's item.
Excuse me?
Don't tell me you've never heard of the Mockingbirds.
The what?
They're the Hatsune craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents.
I never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you.
The best part is, nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they'd won everybody's hearts. The story goes that they're made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. To think one would turn up here of all places. Oh, this is a good sign, I'm sure of it.
Oh, well, that's nice.
And say lots of collectibles! They have a page in the compendium thing.
Oh boy,
But they'll give you like hints of...
the hidden Monokubas of this game. Oh wow.
Yep. These ones actually do give you hints of their locations, though, if you look at the list.
Okay, I'm gonna get up now.
I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout.
Alright.
There's no telling what kind of curses you might find out on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything.
I will.
Well, if that's all, I should be going.
Randy.
And yeah, as the storyteller mentioned last session, you can basically jump between any of the story threads whenever you're on this screen.
I am surprised that one does not diverge for that. Actually, hard to say.
She basically asked him to investigate both matters no matter what.
Yeah. A little hard to say if these ones will split off, because it does seem like there's not a whole lot of space for them, unless, like, one of them ends early and then can branch off there, kind of deal.
I've been having these weird thoughts lately.
God damn it.
Feel
Not.
not. But I feel the
Burn, baby!
Feel the insatiable urge of bloodlust.
It's been almost an hour since Richard's left. He promised he called me if anything happened. But he hasn't. All I can do now is wait. And wait.
Yes,
Well, since I'm not on screen, I'm going to go just check what the dog's doing while you guys are proceeding.
No problem.
What's this? A newspaper? It must have fallen off the chair. It's a newspaper. I only leave them here for guests. I hardly even read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do.
Oh my god. Society?
It looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The rivers are covered in scum and all that sewage and industrial waste, and it stinks so badly it made my eyes water. Eventually, people started to get sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it gotten better since. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. All sorts of articles about the current state of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, we're moving into the era of large corporations. It's about 220 to 30 yen to a dollar. Manufacturing's on the rise and exports are healthy. Dollar down from its heights, and people are saying it can fall further. This is on how much the standard of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and television now, and supermarkets are better stocked than ever.
Damn, take me back.
But yeah, pretty sure she just saw either bird or neighbor dog.
Yeah.
Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. Seems only yesterday people were flocking to arcades to shoot aliens. But now we have enormous theme parks and gaming machines that plug straight into our televisions. Everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films, and movies based on the latest bestsellers. Back in my day, fusion rock and folklore were all the rage. But now it's all about city pop and idols. I find it hard to care about the sort of things anymore. Everyone attends high school now, even girls. Universal education policy, they called it. The country's got it rich enough to every child can go to school. Education's the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition getting those universities have gotten fierce, though. The new generation's rebelling. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of those. I don't want to read it anymore. It only reminds me of him.
That's actually interesting. I was just listening to the Dead Meat podcast over Battle Royale today, and they were talking a lot about how that film is influenced a lot by like the rebellious kind of youth that was going on like post World War II kind of deal for that, and the creator of Battle Royale was like it was a film very late in his life kind of deal, so it's kind of one of those, he was on ground zero kind of deal when all of that was going down kind of deal. So it was apparently really bad in 80s, but apparently even worse in 90s. It's not quite as bad as like kind of gang violence and such over in the US or stuff like that, but for Japan in particular, it was like pretty bad during that time.
Wow. I don't really watch much television. I feel as if all the information of the world could pass through all these little black boxes. But Father stopped them from reporting on the kidnapping, back when it happened. I was glad about that, less fuss.
And less people sending in false leads, because you know that would happen.
Yeah.
If there's one thing Honjo never wanted for, it's horrible crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anyone I knew. I don't read the news anymore, not since last year. It brings back bad memories.
So much as he said. Oh my god, how much dialogue's in these newspapers? Jesus.
I legit forgot how long this segment goes for.
Suicide at the local high school.
I am sorry, Sophie. That shit.
Oh, I remember that. A high school girl jumped off the roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think. Or maybe it was something about exam pressure. But... no, that can't be right. Her name. Nishio Ishizawa. From Kamiga High School. It can't be.
What do you mean? I can't read more about that. Or can I think? No.
Yeah, I believe it's think.
Nishio Ishizawa, the same girl who witnessed my son's kidnapping, committed suicide last week. But that means... Mr. Toshio was terrified of someone who's already dead. Is that what he meant by a curse? I can't work this out on my own. Maybe Richard will know. Oh, why would he call? Oh, I haven't left it off the hook, have I?
Go check that phone.
No.
I'm waiting for Richard to contact me, but he hasn't. I made sure the receiver's on the hook. And he'll ring as soon as he's called. Ah! That must be him.
Hey, you know.
Hello. Shigazama residence.
Harue Shigeyama, 2 a.m.
Kamigata Bridge.
I look up, they were right. It was filthy. Disgusting. Richard called me out to meet him. We call him at the Komaga Bridge. Richard, there's something I need to tell you.
Funny, I was just thinking the same thing.
I'll go first.
There's something I need to tell you.
What's up?
Well, that girl, Michio Shirazade.
The one
was
who...
with Oh yeah.
The one who was Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping.
That's her. Well, she's dead.
She's what?
The student who committed suicide last week. That was her.
I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name, though. Talk about bad luck. We finally get a lead, only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Janachi was so shaken up. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave?
It seems like we're back where we started.
Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put money on him having something to do with Miss Shiraishi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her.
I see.
And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch.
A hunch?
Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess?
I can't say for certain, but...
Wait. Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
I got silenced
Yeah, he
myself.
silenced himself.
Wait, this is something you can actually guess if you get all the clues for it. I just forget where you get all the clues. But, like, you can guess this.
No. I think, Mr. Energy, silence here with blackmail.
What if Mr. Janauchi silenced Michio Shiraishi with blackmail?
What do you think?
Exactly my thinking.
Hell yeah!
Janauchi knew about Miss Shiraishi's connection to the kidnapping. And he used that to blackmail her into doing his bidding. He made her feel so trapped she took her own life to escape. That's my read on it.
How despicable.
Well, it's just a theory. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Janauchi.
Please, go ahead.
Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the Seven Mysteries, looking for curse bearers. And I think I found a few candidates. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshibori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around at me. And he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer.
Except he's
Making my way
not.
downtown.
Dramatic irony at its finest. Then there's the middle-aged guy I saw on South Warigesui Street. There's no question about this one. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him, too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. Gathering soul drugs, I'd bet. He'd make a good target. Next up, a pair. A young man and woman I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. This time, the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they look around there often. Looking for kindred spirits would be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul drugs in a group might seem a decent idea, if you can make it work. But with things being how they are, it's gotta be hard to find folks one can trust. They got brass, though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last 2 detectives I've seen sniffing around. The
police are involved?
Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's gotta be up.
How do you know where they're from?
Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyway, that's everyone who's caught my eye.
You found all of them in so little time. I really did hire the best.
It's all in the name, ma'am. Richter Kai, P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai, Investigator Extraordinaire.
Ah, the other one rhymes. That one's better.
My investigator extraordinaire. Is that what you can dress like that without drawing attention to yourself?
You bet. Investigator Extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit.
Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young woman sounds the most promising. Am I right?
Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than I thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come. Didn't you want to tell me something?
I already said everything I wanted to say. Staying around is the last thing I want to be doing right now. This is the only way to bring back my son. I can't afford to further it away.
Location update for the bridge. The really shittily handled river. Is the Sumida River what you Honjo folks picture when you think of home?
I couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it.
Right, should have guessed. This was where they found him. Oh.
This is where they found him, after he went missing. All alone, floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been. How cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I come here every day since then. And I pray to the river to give him back. To give me back my son. Day after day after day.
You know, in olden times, people believed rivers marked where a world met the next. So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. That same place would later become Honjo. All their fear and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Meireki, and just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from farmland to a town, the people surrounded it with man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways.
Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I've told.
They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially, they were a spiritual one too.
So, if I have this right, Are you saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife?
Exactly. That's why the rite of resurrection is here, rather than anywhere else. I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the Seven Mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now, right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think.
Is that supposed to make me feel better?
Just thinking aloud, ma'am.
Well, it's a nice thought.
Yep. Okay.
Lord!
Lord. Done.
Oh, there's more to the river. It doesn't have a check mark.
Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you?
Go ahead.
It must have been around 20 years now, when I was still a high school girl. Back then, the Samita River had much filthier than it is now.
Oh, so they've made progress.
Yep.
It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy, and it stank. You could look over at the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand.
Naughty the fuck?
What?
It was almost a miracle when you stop to think about it. What were the chances if someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted in the water, the part that left would have an identifiable scar. And that they could tell had been a murder from the blade marks on the bones.
Wait. Are you talking about the Nejima murders?
So you heard of it. I'm impressed. I assumed you were but an elementary schooler at the time.
I wasn't really aware of it then. I only heard about it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours.
Notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murder of a female high school student came to the attention of authorities when part of the victim was discovered flung. Testing revealed it belonged to the same high school. Appeared to have been severed deliberately. The police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of the river was organized by a highly polluted state farming and hospital. Only the victim's head and
Yeah.
yeah, Jesus. Ah!
That's a face only
That's
mother
a face, alright.
To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something looked like that. The rest of her body just sunk to the bottom of the... They combed the ribbons, but they only ever found pieces. Something else must have rotted or floated out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who've been looking for her fell ill.
A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny, everyone figures the river's filthy already, so one more piece of garbage wouldn't hurt. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't want to go rooting around down there myself.
That's right. Which is why the river is the last place anybody would be looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seems to be in. Young people were moving from Tokyo to droves. Some people ran away from homes to make it in the big city. They make easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped the body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink into the bottom, never to be seen again.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
They arrest him shortly after, Fukushima Nejima. The man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it, it couldn't have been his first crime. And people began to wonder how many other girls he murdered the same way. Police never found any evidence of other murders in the end. The river knows the truth. How many corpses have swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That's the same thought spread through everyone's minds, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been ranked with corruption for decades now. Or at least, that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting?
Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nejima murders.
But how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. It was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me.
Huh. It just wasn't the killer's day.
Sometimes I wonder he resent me for it.
Oh my god, this river's not done. What? Okay.
What else would there be? I'm trying to remember what else would be in this thing.
Is something wrong?
Not really, it just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nejima murders.
So it has.
Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's precedent for first-time offenders being allowed out on parole after 20 years. Only if they're found to show remorse and the desire to reform themselves, of course.
That's right. I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society.
I hear they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation.
Oh, really?
They keep an eye on them, of course, and report in for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognized in the workplace.
My. The way you put it. It's like you're saying Fukuyama Mejima could have been out on parole right now. Back in society under a new name, with nobody any the wiser.
It's possible. As it happens, a little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if it was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind.
I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remember something too.
What was it?
I was passing Komaga High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor. I think I could have sworn he reminded me of Fukushima Nejima.
Oh?
He looked a little different from 20 years. Much thinner than I remember, too. I told myself I must be seeing things. But perhaps it was him after all. Yikes. So, what next?
The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's unlikely the other curse bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think.
I see. Alright.
And that's your cue to do other routes.
You cannot progress any further. What's this? Zoo, try again. Okay.
Time to get more context.
Alright. Okay. So, I know I said Yako, but I want to give Sophie a break.
Understandable.
So, we're gonna go to Tetsuo next at this point. Yeah. Tetsuo, Chief Inspector of the Metropolitan Police Department First Investigation Division, is investigating the mysterious death of a fellow officer. He visits the scene of the incident, the former Yasuda Gardens, with his subordinate Jun Itaro.
Alright.
Tetsuo, 11 p.m. Former Yasuda Gardens.
Why that voice?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to do it like the TMNT Turtles at Time. Big Apple, 3 a.m. kind of deal. Hey boss, forensics is all done. The crime scene is clean. The other officers have all gone home. It's just us now. The park.
That's still
yeah. The park should be able to open up tomorrow, like nothing ever happened.
I doubt get many visitors after everything that's happened.
Be surprised. Lots of people love this kind of thing. I bet they're lining up to get in. Occult stuff is really popular now. Did you know that, boss?
Sounds stupid.
Well, it's not exactly rooted in science, but if ghosts really did exist, we could just ask them who the perp is.
Somehow, I doubt it'd be that simple.
You know, I've heard that some high school girls are really into the spirit board thing nowadays. Supposedly, you can call spirits and talk to them by using a board with letters on it. Wouldn't that be something?
You can try it out yourself if you're so interested.
And that's not a bad idea. Let's give it a go sometime, boss.
What now? Stop messing around. You really think we're going to solve this case by moving a coin across a scrap of paper?
Sounds like you know all about it. We gotta be open-minded. What if that's how the police work is gonna be from now on?
Don't make me laugh.
Ouija board? Oh no.
Yeah. Ouija is like a brand name, I believe, which is why it's just called Spirit Board.
Ah, okay. Alright.
Listen up, Ario. You can't go blaming the death of your buddy on something like the occult.
I don't care if it was ghosts or the occult or what. Whoever or whatever it was that did this, I'll get them. I promise you that.
Well, you got the right attitude, but we don't even know if this was a murder yet. Biases weaken our judgment. Get too fixated on one thing and you stop seeing everything else.
Aye, boss. So, now that we're finished investigating the scene, let's review what we know.
Now? It's getting late. Figured we'd head straight home from here.
What is this face on him?
This game has great faces.
This looks like a reaction face on a game thumbnail kind of thing. It does how much damage? Come on, we gotta all go over the info we covered. What's a better place to do that than here at the scene of the crime where we can soak up the atmosphere?
Soak up the atmosphere? The hell is there to soak up? You must be really into this occult stuff if you get off on being in a place like this.
What? You mean being somewhere like this doesn't get your blood pumping? No way!
No. Don't turn this around on me. I'm not the real one here. Cripes. Fine, let's just get this over with.
Perpetually in shocked face. Aye, boss!
I love these two's dynamic.
The park became city property a number of years ago and underwent extreme renovations. Not a soul around at this time of night. Quiet doesn't begin to describe it. Pond! This pond, they say it used to flow into the Sumia River. The river became so polluted that they cut it off.
We cannot let the park get polluted any more than it likely already is.
Essentially, bodies were put into here, and then they were directed off into the main river. Hypothesis started now.
Jun Ario, a detective in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department. First Investigation Division, his rank, Sergeant. This is his first time leading a case. It's like he's graduated from rookie to newbie. He looks put together on the outside, but acts like a kid most of the time. Honestly, the Force could use more people like him.
So early in the morning yesterday, staff member found a victim collapsed in the park. They called the police, and when they realized he was dead, while there were no obvious external wounds, the fact that he was a police officer and the evidence of the struggle meant he was likely was murder. Sumia police official sent it over to us since it was involved with the death of an officer, and we were tasked with the investigation. What we need to do is figure out what happened and whether foul play is involved. I think that sums the things up. The victim was Haji Yoshimi of the Juvenile Division in Sumiya City Community Safety Bureau. 27 years old, single. He mostly dealt with cases involving juveniles in education. His rank was senior police officer.
You knew him well, didn't you? What was he like?
Yes, we were in the academy together. We still went out for drinks together every month or two. He could be a little rowdy, but he was the kind of big brother to us all. He was kind and he cared about his friends. Better or worse, he wasn't the uptight cop. The man always showed empathy, and I heard he was popular with the locals for it. Also, he's got a hell of a chin, man. God damn. I look even closer. He treated each and every troubled kid he met with compassion. He had a great track record when it came to rehabilitation.
Sounds like we lost a good one.
Yeah, we did. We truly did. I knew being a cop was dangerous. I knew something like this could happen, but...
It's never easy when it happens for real. I know the feeling.
Didn't seem to care much about climbing the ranks, but he was the top of our class. Only problem that he took on too much, he had the most unfinished paperwork too. I always felt like he needed an unusual guy like him to help solve all of our unusual cases. A police officer. That's right. Once a rebellious gang member himself, Yoshimiya turned his life around and used his own experiences to connect with troubled youth as a police officer. While his appearance in the mirror suggested the man was rough around the edges, he was a passionate, loyal, and caring man at heart. Excuse me. Looked up to as a big brother by his peers, Yoshimi achieved stellar results on his work with juvenile cases, but his consistently sloppy paperwork and less than formal attitude essentially doomed his career and had him writing formal apologies on the regular. He left behind his fiancée, whom he had been dating since high school.
Interesting.
Don't worry, you're plenty unusual yourself.
Me? I was the most normal of all my classmates! Besides, a weirdo among us quit the academy a long time ago.
There was one even weirder than you?
As the cause of death, we don't know until the autopsy is done. From what we've seen, though, it appears to be some kind of accurate heart failure. But it seemed to have no record of chronic illnesses and no visible wounds. It's possible that poison or drugs could have been involved.
Dying in the middle of the park like that certainly seems suspicious.
Found signs of a struggle at the scene, as well as footprints belonging to an unidentified individual. We got some people trying to identify those prints.
If we can find who they belong to, we might be able to figure the whole thing out.
Yes, wouldn't that be nice if that were the end of it? The only things Hajime had on him were his badge and his wallet in his pockets.
So we can rule out a mugging. Though probably aren't many people who'd think to try mugging a cop as big as him.
Also heard that Hajime got into a fair few fights in his younger days. Started judo once he became an officer and rose up the ranks quickly.
Sounds like the perp would have had to been pretty strong to take on Hajime.
I'm just gonna say it, because I think Chad is thinking it. If we get into another story and another person who dies name is fucking Makoto, I swear to God on that. But either way, so glad to be back in the First Division, boss. I've always admired your work. You were like a god to me. You were the whole reason I became a detective in the first place.
Yeah, about that. People have been saying that ever since you first entered the academy, but...
Yes, that's because it's true. Couldn't believe you got transferred out of your first case just as I was assigned to it. So getting to work on cases like this now, just the two of us, is like a dream come true.
Happy as I am to hear that, well, how should I put it?
What is it?
If that's true, I'm not sure you've been showing me the proper amount of respect.
Huh? But I respect you. Don't tell me you've gone senile, boss.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, when you run your mouth like that.
It's getting late. You must be sleepy. Don't worry, boss. I'll make sure we get out of here soon.
Yeah, I get it.
So all this occult stuff, have you heard about it, boss?
What are you talking about?
The rite of resurrection thing that's got everybody talking.
No, not you two. I've been hearing about that shit everywhere.
Oh, you have? That's surprising.
Who cares what people are talking about? It's got nothing to do with our job.
Don't you think this occult stuff with this case feels, I don't know, realer somehow? The whole thing started right here in Honjo, Sumida city, so I thought that maybe...
Cut it out. Nothing good can come from getting involved with that rite of whatever or that record of faiths.
Sounds like you know all about it. Boss, are you secretly into the occult?
Stop that. Seriously, this isn't a joke. I get why you'd be intrigued by something called the Rite of Resurrection after a buddy of yours died, but... bringing the dead back to life, that's the stuff of fantasy. Not real. So don't go hoping for miracles. Got it?
But, boss?
Yeah?
this case really important enough to assign someone from the investigation division? I mean, a friend of mine died, so it's important to me, but...
It's all up to the higher-ups. I'm sure they've got their reasons.
Boss, you know something, don't you?
It'll become clear in time. Try not to worry about it too much.
Thinking about it. The only thing we know for sure is the identity of our victim. That means there must have been something special about him, right? Maybe he knew something he wasn't supposed to, some kind of secret or something. Isn't that right?
You're pretty sharp sometimes, you know that? If you've picked up on that, you should be able to put the rest together yourself.
Well, it's our duty to get to the bottom of the suspicious death, especially one involving an officer. Hajime was quite the bad boy in school, apparently. He ended up with the police a lot. Said the officer in charge was good to him. He helped him get back on the right track. The reason he wanted to become a cop was to pay the kindness forward. Said it was the first time he ever took his studies seriously.
That's a good story. Love that kind of thing. Makes me want to have a drink in his honor.
Please don't make fun of my dead friend.
Hey, I said in his honor. You should aspire to become the kind of cop people miss when they die in the field.
Say that like it's a sure thing I'll die. Besides, if I end up biting it, I'm sure you'll be the one who misses me most, boss. Come on, don't be like that. You'll learn morale, man.
Well, I guess how much I'll miss you depends on how this investigation goes.
Man, I can already see it. Hero! No! Why'd you have to go and get yourself killed?
I have no idea what's going on in that head of yours.
Yeah, that might be a sight to see. I can't wait.
You can't wait for your own... Get it together, kid.
Multiple pass, bitch.
Sheesh, you really are something.
Thank you.
Okay, I love their dynamic so much. What about the victim's family?
The Yoshishimi family is from the Kitasenju in Adachi City, but Hajime's parents died a long time ago. He lived there all alone, no siblings or anything. I went to his house a few times for drinks. I was surprised. It's this huge, old-looking place. Like, you know, the kind of place that seems super haunted.
And he lived there alone?
It looked like some old noble family. It was hard to imagine him living in such a delinquent, living in a house all like that.
There's that bias I was talking about. If he's from an old family, I'm sure things were complicated.
That's a bias too. Never talked about any of that. Even when we were drunk, so I don't know much about it. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah?
Hajime was engaged. He'd been seeing his fiancée ever since they were in school. Over 10 years, they just started talking about getting married. What was her name again? She showed me a picture once. She was a beautiful woman.
That's so? How terrible for her. But she may know if there had been anything going with him lately. We should speak with her.
Yeah, his fiancée may have his only confidant. I'm sure someone at Sumundia Police Department has already contacted her. I'll go look into it tomorrow. Hey, boss? I looked into the case that Hajime was running.
Ah, great. That's the kind of stuff I want to know. What was Hajime working on the day he died?
Well, according to his report the day before, he had 2 cases involving juveniles.
Uh-huh.
First case was a suicide of a high school girl who jumped off the building at
Kamizawa
last week. You can see the last story.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Girl's name was Michio Shirasashi. She was a second-year school at Komagada High School.
Real quick note, this image is what Nico had to censor in his LP.
Ah, okay. It seems as though Hajime had contact with her even before this incident.
So she'd been in trouble for some time.
That's the thing. A month ago, he happened to see her walking around town. She looked upset, so struck up a conversation with her. She was sure there was something bothering her, but she wouldn't tell him what.
Must have been trouble at home.
Yeah, so, for YouTube people, if you saw the screen blurred out in an edited version, that's why. We will see how the VOD thing goes when this uploads on that. That's what he thought, too. It seems he visited her home and spoke up to her parents, but they said there was no problem, so there was nothing that he could do. Now she's dead.
That's possible he could have prevented her suicide then.
He must have been devastated. That's why he was looking into this Michio Shirazashi again. He must have thought that something terrible had happened that drove her to end her life. But ultimately, he never reported the findings on his investigation.
I see. And you're thinking that it may have had something to do with his death. We'll have to find out what it is Hajime discovered.
Right, let's check with the Sundia Police Department about that tomorrow, too.
And what was the other case he was working?
The other one is related to the Komagata High student. A troublemaker named Hitomi
Okuda.
Hitomi Okuda. She seems to be the leader of a group of kids who are up to no good.
Juvenile delinquency. Fun.
She was pretty bad for a while. Multiple charges of destruction of property, assault and battery, you name it. Hajime had been working with her for about 6 months when she finally started to open up. Then, he met with a girl the day he died.
Well, every school's got its problems. But I'm sure he'd be worried about how she'd get on without him.
Right, just as she finally found an adult she could trust. She might act out with someone to help her get through this.
We'll have to make sure the Sumida Community Safety Bureau does their job. But... we can't rule out the possibility that meeting with the delinquent girl had something to do with the death. Then we'll have to interview her, too.
Ah, yes, you're right. She may have been the last person to see him alive, after all. I'll go ask Sumdia to introduce us tomorrow. Though, who knows if they'll actually let us talk of her.
That's what we hired you for. Lay a little boyish charm on them if they need convincing.
Ah, yes, I'm sure they prefer me over a scary old-looking man like you, boss.
Watch it. Still your superior. You ought to look like you respect me, at least.
Oh, I thought I was.
You were? Shit, is that just how your generation speaks? You really are a new breed.
It's probably just me, actually.
Yeah, well, don't think you can get away with that with other people.
Anyways, boss.
Were you even listening?
We've got quite a bit to look into tomorrow. First, we got the 2 Komagata high school cases that Hajime was handling. We need to speak with the fiancé as well. I believe that's it for tomorrow. So much Time of death. Yeah, time of death was around 11 p.m. 2 days ago, outside the park's operating hours, of course. His body was found early in the morning yesterday.
11 p.m., the day before yesterday. What was Hajime doing out here at that time in the first place?
That's the question, isn't it? The entrance to the park is closed after hours, but there's a small gate that's fairly easy for him to get through if he really wanted to. That, of course, would be breaking and entering, but what do you think, boss?
It's hard to imagine a cop like Hajime would trespass for no reason. Since it seems like someone else was here with him, could they have called him here?
Oh, that does seem likely.
They must have been talking about something pretty sensitive to come here in the middle of the night. So Hajime met someone here to discuss something in secret.
And then they got into a fight?
Nah, that wouldn't match the cause of death. There were no wounds on the body that would indicate a spontaneous scuffle. The perp must have planned something.
You think it was meditated? That would mean they called Hajime to the park with the intent to kill him?
Well, there's still the possibility that it was just some kind of accident. Maybe the perpetrator threatened Hajime and things went south from there. We should be able to get a clearer picture once we know what actually killed him.
Right. I've been wowed by your shrewd detecting abilities all day today.
Oh, really? Funny. I've been wowed by you, too.
On the topic of family, what's yours like, boss?
The hell's wrong with you? Prying into my personal life all of a sudden.
It's just, I've never heard you talk about them or anything. Oh, are you single?
Shut it. That's none of your business.
Well, ever since I joined the force, I've been thinking. The department really pressuring young officers to get married. Wonder why that is. You don't say anything like that, though.
How should I know? I came to the pressure myself and got married 20-some years ago.
So then...
God, you're relentless. She took her daughter and left 4 years ago. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can't believe she'd give up a guy like you.
I was never home much, too focused on work. I'd come home late, only to get called right back out again, plus being a cop is dangerous work. I don't blame her for getting fed up with it all.
That, especially when you're out here putting your life on the line. Oh, is that why you transferred out of the first?
It was already too late by then. You better be careful, Aereo.
Say that, but there's not much I can do, is there? That's the nature of our job. There aren't many who can really understand it, not unless they're really involved with police work themselves or related to someone who is... wait, you have a daughter, boss.
You really think I want to talk about her after all that? Have some sense.
Come on, I promise I don't mean the way that sounds, but how old is she?
Jeez, you don't know when to quit, do you? At least try to not look so intrigued. She's a bit rough around the edges. I think most men are intimidated by her. Last I heard, she's living by herself and going to college.
Wow, a college student. Men love an educated lady.
What kind of cop are you, making baseless...
She's living on her own, though, huh? You must be worried about her.
Worry? I don't even know where she lives.
Oh, so she hasn't told you. Probably because she knows you follow her around everywhere.
I would not. I don't think.
Come on now, we both know that's not true.
Listen here.
You may look mean and like a mean old man, but you have a soft side.
What? Is that supposed to be a compliment? I can't keep up with you. We're done talking about this.
I'm talking about this today.
God damn it, Aereo.
Oh, that reminds me. You got married 20 years ago. It must have been right around the time of the Nejima murder.
You know your history. Yeah, that happened a year or two after the wedding.
You were the ones who arrested the killer, weren't you? We studied that case in the academy. I was only in elementary school at the time, but I still remember people talking about some dangerous criminal that got arrested.
Oh, that was just... cracking the case, finding the guy, it was all just happenstance. I'd really rather not think about it. It was a disturbing case. Did it not make your skin crawl when you learned about it at the academy?
It did. We were all terrified.
Sounds about right. No one could believe that such a mild-mannered man could have committed such a terrible murder. If we'd overlooked one thing, we may never have caught him at all.
I think I remember hearing there was only one charge brought against him in the end.
That's right. We didn't have the evidence. I knew there was no way such a meticulously planned crime could have been there first, but... We may have stuck Fumi Shika Nejima in a cell, but it was no victory. He always had the upper hand. And all the damage he did to everyone involved, especially the victim's classmates. Already been 20 years, huh? God damn it. This is why I try not to think about it.
I'm sorry.
I've got a bad feeling about this case, and my gut is rarely wrong. I knew this would be a treacherous case from the moment we were dragged into it. Maybe look around a bit?
Yeah. Where the victim was found, well, it's clean now. It almost feels like nothing happened here at all. But one incident like this has to pass. There's no going back. Not knowing that this is any consolation. Boss, I think that does about it.
Right, let's call it for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh god, what is that?
Huh? Boss? What's wrong? Don't tell me you've gone senile.
Damn it, it was that case all along.
Boss? What is it? Is there something over there?
Such deep sorrow, such
Dead bosses that are locked up forever in the eternal darkness.
kill them.
Kill them! Those who spread our lies! Kill them all! Evergreen Beach, you can use it to kill those who intentionally try to mislead you. Murderous symbol seeps.
Murders. So like thick black tar.
Now, kill. You hear it, curse bearer. You strongly desires to write. Kill them. Oh, Sophie just said power hiccup on her end, so
Yep.
yeah. Boss!
Yeah.
Boss!
Ugh.
What's the matter? Don't tell me you really went senile. Do you need a little kissy to get back
Oh my god. Sorry. I'm fine.
I'm alive.
Ario,
Yes?
I have some bad news.
Oh no, your sensibility kicking in, isn't it?
No, we've got a bit of trouble on our hands. Looks like we'll be working some overtime. We're not going home tonight.
What are you talking about? Alright. Trying to decide. Actually, I think that's probably a good place to stop right now. We did go through 3 events. I don't know how. I can't judge how long this one is, just judging by the other one taking a very, very long time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is a good place to stop for right now on that. So,
Alright.
Hey.
Interesting. I'm starting to see how I think I'm just very interested how the structure is going to go, because I'm seeing on here doesn't really seem like that this can actually branch that super far kind of deal on this sort of end. So curious to see how that goes, or if it will just kind of adjust when there is a new path kind of deal onto here. So I don't know yet, but I'm intrigued onto this right now. So yeah, do think a heads up. It's probably going to be Wednesday again next week, because I do have something happening Monday night. So the plan
Alright.
is Mondays are the go-to day. If that doesn't work, then Wednesday is our backup day kind of deal onto that. So yeah.
Alright.
I should probably be streaming either Saturday or Friday something. I don't know what, but maybe CPU tournament if people respond to that and we have a good day. We'll see. But, yep, other than that, have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.